Hello everyone. I have not been making videos lately. I'm in class right now. I'm in an inking class, and I thought I would do some inking in here. I've also been doing some sort of commissions and stuff, some of which I can show. I don't know if I can quite show everything yet. Let's see. What else have I got down here? Oh, well, you saw the spaceship one. I also did these spot illustrations. Some of which these would probably make kind of cool stickers, but this is for a game. And this is the sort of thing you would put at the bottom of like a page break or whoops, let me move that to the side. You might put it at the bottom of a page break or a column break or something, you know, something you might put at the end of a break in text. But what I've really been concentrating is I've been doing a lot of inking. And the reason this is in two pieces is because I only have a normal printer. But this is a Dark Phoenix. This is John Byrne did the art, of course, but I did the inking. And I'm learning how to use, or how to better use nib pen. Our teacher really wants us to be using more brush. I'm not great at the brush, but I'm enjoying the process, and pretty much guaranteed that I'll be making mistakes on this. This next assignment, this is our homework this week, is Black Panther. This is a Jack Kirby Black Panther, and we can do it in two pieces. I'm going to start with the lower half, just so that if I make a lot of mistakes, they'll be confined to the lower half at first. You know, maybe I'll improve as we go on. I'm looking for the right, I'm gonna use this one. This is a kind of a larger, I don't know if that's a, what you call that, a sachi nib or a spoon nib? I call it a spoon nib. So we're gonna give it a shot. First of all, I have a drafting table, but I don't have a camera that can see the drafting table, so this is done on my little computer area. I'm using Speedball Super Black, which I really like. I used to use Kuretake 60 or Kuretake Black. 60 might be the 60 milliliters or however much goes in it. Alright, we're going to give it a shot. I want to go with, this is Jack Kirby, so I want to go with a chick stone sort of outline. My favorite Kirby inker is Mike Royer, and I will not be doing the whole image on this video because it'll take a long time. And you know, normally I'll do it and then I'll speed it up. What am I looking at? I've got to learn to be more careful. But in this case, I will not be sort of speeding it up. I'm just going to get an outline of the most forward parts of the image and kind of work from front, you know, foreground all the way to the background, so the plants in the background. We won't get to those till later. I need to be careful about line weight, right? You want the thinner line weights to be in the back. And unfortunately, I've already gone a little bit thin, and I'm already regretting. So we're gonna double it up a little bit. Anytime I hear the big scrape, you know, when it's cutting across the paper, I get a little worried because it could be picking up paper pulp, you know, on the end of the pen, and that acts like a little cotton swab on your nib. Anyway, if you're wondering why this is in two pieces, I only have, my printer can only do 8.5 by 11. So I've set up the PDF to print the image across two pieces of Bristol, and I used regular Bristol. And I just used my paper chopper to chop it, threw it in the printer, and printed it across these two. And then we'll see, that's too thin. There we go. And then we can tape it together like I did my Dark Phoenix one. I think this shadow with no holding line, this shadow underneath is going to have to be the brush, which I am a little intimidated by. But one of the advantage when you're doing on 8.5 by 11 by 17 by 11 is you can flip this around, and you know, you can manipulate your paper a lot easier. I'm trying to get a good angle. I want to pull the line. And I don't want to put my hand down in wet ink or anything. I'm getting a little confused by the yeah, okay. Okay. Next up, we're going to try and do some of these road lines. Also, it's important to remember that you're not really meant to be just tracing it. You're meant to be sort of embellishing it, creating light and shadow and drama. So my instinct is, of course, just draw what's on there. In fact, I think that's what Jack preferred or said. But I want to give it kind of a gritty jungle feel, you know, because he's running through the jungle here. I'm gonna have to do that plant. And we're relying on the flexibility of our nib to provide some, you know, some variation and some depth in the line. There's Jack's signature. 1982. I'm running out of ink there. These striped lines are actually part of his costume. They're not meant to be hatches. And I'm noticing that there's no holding line, and I like that idea. I'm wondering if it's smarter to do these sort of folds in the socks here. Before the hatching lines. This needs to be thicker. Any side like that's away from the light needs to be a slightly thicker line. I don't want to ruin it. I'm going to go ahead and do the folds. Is there a lot of ink on there? Okay. Yeah, like that. Alright, same deal on the other foot. Shoe is on the other foot now. Okay. I will say, I know that like most people that are trying to learn comics, they go right to doing, you know, fan art, established characters and stuff like that, which I do not like to do. I don't like to do fan art. You can sell fan art. I mean, I don't know if you can legally sell it, but it's like, that's what people want. And I don't like to do that in general. There are some characters that I like to draw. I am a C-list guy. I like to draw like some of my favorite Marvel characters would be Devil Slayer. Some of the Western characters I really love. I do love the Hulk. Love the Hulk. I love the Monster Hulk that like McFarlane would do, but only because I recognize Dick Briefer's Frankenstein in that Hulk. Like I can see the Dick Briefer in there. This is gonna have to be brush. I'm looking at these big chunky areas here. That should have been deeper, bigger. Okay, here we go. Once this dries a little bit more, I can go in and do the lines. I'm afraid of putting my hand down in the ink. This is really close, like this one's going to be like that. I'm trying to figure out if I want to go to see the Lee Cronin Mummy movie, which is almost out of theaters. Alright, let's try and get some of these costume details in. That's still wet, I'm not going to touch it. I can see the glisten. How about this line back here? This line we could totally do. My teacher said to pull the line. It's almost like a, I think of it almost like a video game where you are presented like with one of those gigantic puzzles and it looks impossible, and then you start solving bits and pieces of it, and soon it starts to sort of look more cohesive and it looks solvable, even though it looks impossible at first because it's so big. Alright, this is a rock. I want to make sure that the rock has a rock texture when I do it. We don't want it to look fluffy or furry. So let's... Too thin. If anyone's curious, the class is traditional inking at the Kubert School Online. This is the third time I'm taking traditional inking, and I've improved a little bit each time. I try and take a few classes a year and hope to improve. don't know if that looks rocky enough just yet. Well, it's gonna have to be. Alright, let's see if we can get these lines. It's still wet. I can do a little bit. I can do a little bit. I've got a zebra nib on the other side of this one, so right now I'm using the spoon nib, and on the other side is a zebra nib. Or a crow quill. That felt pretty good. Bring my light in. Maybe I should do it from the other side. Even the really good inkers would have to use correction fluid every once in a while. And so I'm very paranoid, because it's not about if you'll mess up, it's like a when, you know. So I'll just be as careful as I can. Looking at this bubble of ink on the back of my pen, I'm thinking, it's going to eject everything if I'm not careful. see if we can get in here and do these. That's dry enough. This leg is back, so it's going to be thinner lines, especially since it's just a texture. Like these stripes are part of the costume. Might be lost on some people who don't know the character as well, or don't know the Kirby version of the character as well. All right, we might have to jump into the brush. Gone for almost 26 minutes. I have not done the speed up, so you can kind of see how it's progressing. I'm going to try and continue with this in multiple parts, so I think we might take a break from this. Make sure our brush is real clean, and this is dry. And then we'll go in and we'll try and get some of those blacked out areas before we move on. Thanks for watching. We're going to be working on comics every day. Talk to you later.